Hey guys and gals, it's Mr. V. Hey, we are moving on. We did some one-digit multiplication in our last video, so now we are attacking some two-digit multiplication. Now, this is where it'll kind of step up our ball game a little bit. This is where this gets a little more challenging. Where the first one isn't too bad, very easy to understand, very easy to do, pretty easy to understand. This one's going to be a little bit more steps, not as much, not as complicated, but it's still going to be something we need to make sure that we are focusing on because little mistakes do pop up quite a bit. So make sure you have your notebook out and are ready to go. All right. So we're going to title this lesson two-digit multiplication. And again, this method is something that most of your parents and are most familiar with, where if you get stuck, they could even help you. Now, this video is not just about doing, and that's going to be the important part that you guys understand that. So if you already think to yourself, I already know how to do this, just like I said Friday when we learned the last one, this is more about understanding how it works. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to kind of recap what we have learned in your past. So say we had the problem 23 times 14. Again, there's no powers of 10. There's nothing we can do shortcut. So what we're going to do is we would have first do it what we call area model. Okay, and then here you would have 23. So you put your 20 plus your 3 up here. But this time we have the digit 14. Unlike last time, we only had one digit here. So here we're going to go 10 plus 4. And so now you can see instead of having just 2 boxes, now we have 4 boxes. Now again, area model is not a bad method. Not at all. In fact, it actually, to me, makes the multiplication easier. But it sometimes does make the addition harder. So watch, again, same thing we do. We're going to use length times width. We're going to use our area understanding to do this. So we're going to take 20 and 10 for our length times width. Do our basic fact. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 zeros makes 200. Then we do this one. We know this line is 10 because opposites are the same. So 10 times 3 is a basic fact is 30. Then we do here 20 times 4. And again, basic fact, 2 times 4 is 8. 1 0 left off for 80. And then we have 3 times 4 to give us 12. Okay? Then you come over here and you add it up. Now, there's different ways to do it. If you wanted to do things in your head, you could. You could sit here and say, well, I know this is 280. So you can add 280. This is 30, and that's 42. You could do that. Or you could just go ahead and add them all, 200, 80, 30, and 12. It kind of depends on what you see and what you feel best comfortable with. Sometimes you're not going to be able to do this. These numbers are going to be pretty big. Then you add it up. 0 plus 2 is 2. 8 plus 4 is 2. And then regroup our 1. 2 plus 1 is 3 for an answer of 322. Okay, so that's the way you guys would have done it a little bit in 4th grade. You would have also done another method called partial product, which it looks very similar to the method we're going to do. But you're still kind of breaking it down. And so you would still have 20 plus 3 and 10 plus 4. And then you're still kind of going, okay, well, 20 times 10 is 200. And this might not be exactly how you did it. And then 20 times 4 is 80. Then you're going to do them over here. 3 times 10 is 30. 3 times 4 is 12. So you're doing the exact same thing I did up here, except you're putting it more in an order down here like we will in our new method. Then you would add it all up. And again, that would be 2, 11, 12, 2, regroup, and you get, again, 322. So both methods, you would get the same. Both methods, you are not necessarily using place value to multiply. You are taking the place value of 23 and expanding it to 20 plus 3. You're taking 14, making it 10 plus 4. Therefore, you're making this a little easier to multiply. Notice there's no regrouping. Like we're in one-digit multiplication, we had to regroup. We had to put little numbers up top, just like we did with our addition right here. There's no regrouping in multiplication for these methods, okay? So we are going to go ahead and now work on our standard algorithm. That is just a fancy way to say the standard method to doing multiplication. Standard algorithm for multiplication. And I'll abbreviate multiplication. Just like that. So now we're going to do the same problem. 23 times 14. Okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to write the rules over here. Okay? The rule 1 is the exact same rule from Friday when we did one digit. We are still going to do the same thing. So what we did Friday is exactly what we're going to do today to start. So we should already have a good handle on how to start this. We're going to take the number on bottom and multiply it by everything up top. So we're going to take this 14 and we're going to distribute. Remember that word distribute. We're going to distribute it up top. And you always start at the far back. So we're going to take the 4, multiply it by the 3. Then we're going to take the 4 and multiply it by the 2. So we're going to take the ones place on bottom by all numbers up top and multiply. Again, that's called distribute. Okay, so again, if you need to pause me to finish writing that, pause me, but I'm going to try not to make the video super long. Okay, so take the ones place on bottom by all numbers up top and multiply. So we're going to take this one, and actually we're going to say starting, we don't want to forget this part, starting at the back. So we're going to start at this 4. So again, just like Friday. So even if you just covered that 1 up, it looks like 23 times 4. That's technically what we're doing. We're still breaking it down into 2 problems. We're going to do 23 times 4, and we're going to do 23 times 10, just like we would have done up here. But we're going to use place value. We're going to keep everything in its place. Understand that. Standard algorithm uses place value, so everything has its proper place, which is why we have to put these little numbers up here called regroups, because we cannot fit 2 numbers down here like we did here. See how we have 200, 80, 30, and 12? We can't do that here. All right, so here we go. First problem we're going to do is 4 times 3. 4 times 3 is 12. Again, I'm going to put it up here for now. You don't have to do that. 12. Remember, where does the 12 go? Well, because it's you look up here, there's where the 12 goes here, but we are using place values, so we can't just put both numbers down. We have to put one of them down, and we learned on Friday that 2 goes down because he's in the ones place, and the 1 is going to regroup to the tens place. So then we're going to do 4 times 2, which we know is really 4 times 20. So 4 times 20 is 80, which is that problem. But again, we can't do that. And since we're using facts, we can just think 4 times 2. So 4 times 2 is 8 plus the 1 regroup up here. You cannot forget about him. Remember, he's 110 hanging out here. So you have 4 times 2 is 8. That's 8 tens plus 1 is 9 tens. So I'm going to put the 9 in the tens place to make 92. So if you look, where did I get this number up here? Where's 92 up here? Because I don't see it. Well, it's right here, 80 and 12. So I took, basically, instead of doing 2 problems, I did 1. So that's how this method is a little bit shorter, because I was able to take and do, instead of doing 20 times 4 and 3 times 4, I was able to do it all in one method, all in one kind of step. Okay. Now, okay, here's what you're going to do. And we don't write this down as a step, but this is going to be important. Now, you're going to cross out any regroups you've already used. Cross out the regroups, and sometimes, this is up to you, sometimes people like to cross out the place value you already used. I use this number, gone. Okay, that's a beneficial step, especially when you're first learning this, that you don't make a mistake. One of the biggest mistakes when kids just start learning how to do this method is they want to multiply by the 4 again. You've already distributed him. You've given the 4 to everything up top. He's done. His job's over. Okay. Now your job is to give the 1 to everybody up top. But what is this 1? This 1 is really a what? Because since we're using place value, this 1 is really a 10. So you need to make sure when you start, you're starting in the tens. In order to do that, you're going to have to put something in a placeholder in the ones place. Something's going to have to sit right here. Because if I did this and I did 1 times 3 and I put 3 I made this 10 times less because this guy is really a 10. And if I put him starting in the ones, I made him in the ones instead of the tens. So in order to make this problem correct, I need to keep everything in its proper place. And since this is really a 10, a 1 in the tens place, I need to start in the tens right there. How would I do that? That means I need a placeholder here. What would I put there? You would put a 0. So here we go. Place a 0. And I'm going to try to do it where it fits every roll. In the previous place values to start in the correct place. Place a 0 in the previous place values to start in the correct place. So again, I want to start in the tens. Why? Because I'm in the tens. This one is a 10. If this one was a million, I'd want to start in the millions. If this one was 100, I'd want to start in the hundreds. This one is a 10. So you can see why it's going to be super important, especially for my messy kiddos. You're going to want to make sure to take your time. You want to line everything up nice and neatly. So I need to put a 0 in all the spots until I get to where I want to be. Well, I want to be in the 10, so I just need to put 1 0. Boom. So I put a 0 in the 1 spot so I can start in the tens. He is my placeholder so I can start in the tens. Now I'm going to start rule 3. That's it. Rule 2 is just that. Rule 2 is just putting the zeros. We're going to put a star by this, though, because this is the most missed rule. This is the most skipped rule. If there's a mistake made, there's 2 mistakes. One, it's facts or regroups. And 2, it's place value. Or 2, it's the 0. This is the most missed step. Other issues, again, would be what I said. Rather a fact error or a regroup error. Okay? So now we know we're in the right spot. Now we got to do the ones and multiply him by everything up top. The rule is going to be the same as rule 1, except watch this. It's going to say take the tens place on bottom and multiply by all numbers up top starting at the back. So again, the same exact concept as rule 1. Except now we're just in the tens place instead of the ones. So rule 1 and rule 3 are identically the same other than where they start. Okay? So now I'm going to take this 1 and I'm going to multiply him by 3 because again, I'm at the tens place. I'm done with this one. I'm done at the tens. Now I'm going to go all the way in the back. I'm going to go from 1 all the way in the back. The first number is the 3. So 1 times 3 is 3. Now let's really think about that. This is really a 10, right? So it's 10 times 3. Well, what's 10 times 3? 30. And look where the 3 is. He's in the tens. Okay? The next number, and again, let's compare it up here. So look, there's my 30 right there. Well, the next number I have to get, if you look what I'm missing the 200 from here, right? I did the 12. I did the 80. That's where I got 92. Here, I did the 30, but I'm missing the 200. So watch this. The next digit, 1 times 2. Now keep in mind, this is really 10 times 20. But because I know I'm in place value, all I have to do is 1 times 2. 1 times 2 is 2. So he goes right there, and lo and behold, look where the 2 ended up. He ended up in the hundreds place. So this is how this works with able to keep everything in order. You are using place value. Okay? So now I have 2 numbers. Now I have 200. See, there's the 230, and there's the 80 and the 12 for 92. So instead of multiplying 4 numbers and adding them up, I only have 2 numbers. I was able to kind of almost shortcut. And then just like in area model, just like in partial product, guess what do you think I have to do to my 2 problems here? Yep, you are right. Add all partials. So I'm going to add all the partials together. Well, my partials are only 2. And what's nice is they're already nice and neat in order. I didn't have to put them in order. So I'm just going to add my plus sign. I'm going to put my answer line right there. And then I'm going to go 2 plus 0 is 2. 9 plus 3 is 12. 2, regroup our 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. And look what we got, guys. The same answer, 322. Okay? So this is going to be so important. Okay? This step, the most important, because if you don't start in the right place, it's going to be incorrect. In fact, I'd like to show you something. You don't have to do this, but I'm just going to show you in pencil what would happen if you did not do that. So if you had 23 times 14 and you did 4 times 3 is 12, 2, regroup your 1, 4 times 2 is 8 plus 1 is 9, 92. Notice I'm at the same. But watch what happens. What if I don't put my 0 there? 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 2 is 2. Look, I have the number 23 when I should have 230. What can you tell me about those two numbers? They're 10 times bigger or smaller, however you want to look at it. This number is 10 times smaller than this guy. Why? Because you didn't start in the right place value. When you multiplied 1 times 3 and put it here, you made this 1 worth 1 when he's really worth 10. So you have to start in the right place value. And this is where estimation would come in. 2 plus 3 is 5. 9 plus 2 is 11. My answer is 115. Well, if I was going to estimate this, I would say that'd be 20 and 10, right? And I'd say 200. And that is closer than that. So I would say that's or I would even say 25. So I'd say 25 times 10, and that's 250. So you're probably closer to this one. Okay, that's where estimation would come in. That would help you. But that's why this one is not correct. You have to place that 0. You can see how much different this number and this number is. So that is why this rule is so important. If we were in the hundreds place, we'd have to put 2 zeros. If we were in the thousands place, we'd have to put 3 zeros. So there's not a rule. It's not just place 1 0. It's place a 0 in the previous place values. You put a 0. You put as many zeros as you need to start in the right spot. Okay? So just think of our powers of 10 when we need all our placeholders. So you need to put your placeholder zeros. All right, let's do a practice one and see how we do. And again, just stay with me. I want you to practice this, and then I'll let you go. Okay? So again, we'll just kind of keep it. We'll call this practice. And we're going to do this a lot. So here's example 1. Let's say it's 79 times 42. Now, I will tell you, the larger the numbers are, the digits, the more regroups, and the more regroups is the harder it gets. Okay? If you don't know your facts, your hundreds, your multiplication chart needs to go out. All right, so here we go. How do we start this? Well, following our rules, and again, if you need your rules out, get them. Take the ones on bottom by all numbers up top. Right here, 2 times 9 is 18. So we put the 8 down. We regroup our 1 because he's the 10 of the 18. We then do the next problem, 2 times 7. Okay, remember, I do all numbers by 2. I don't move over to the 4. I go 2 by everything up top. So 2 times 7 is 14, plus my 1 regroup is 15. So I put my 15 down. And then before I start anything else, and this is where kids get in trouble too, is they want to go too fast. Cross out your regroups. If you don't cross these out, you're going to use them again. So cross them out. I even like to cross this guy out, say, hey, he's done. Okay? What do I do next? Well, now I'm ready to multiply by the 4. And again, if you're in a rush and if you're in a hurry, you're not thinking, you're going to just start multiplying by 4. You have to do what? What was rule 2? Biggest rule. Place a 0 in the ones, place a 0 in the previous place values. What's our previous place value? We are in the tens because this 4 is in the 10 spot. So I need to put a 0 right here before I start multiplying. So I can stay in the tens place. 4 times 9, I can go ahead and start now. Multiply the tens place by everything up top starting in the back. 4 times 9 is 36. So if I have the number 36, the 6 is going to go down, the 3 is going to go up. You can see why I need to cross out this guy, because now I have another regroup I'm going to have to add on later. So that's why it's important to cross these out. I did 4 times 9. Now it's 4 times 7. 4 times 7 is 28. Plus 3 is 29, 30, 31. So I have the number 31 there. Everything nice and neatly lined up just as you see it. There's nothing else to multiply. I could even cross that guy out. I'm done. I've distributed all the numbers on bottom to top. I have nothing else to do. So now I'm done multiplying. The last step is going to be step 4, which was add. 8 plus 0 is 8. 6 plus 5 is 11. So 1, regroup your 1. 1, 2, 3. And then 3 plus nothing is 3. Now you put in your comma, and that would be your answer. All right, we'll do a lot more practice of this in class. I just wanted you to have a video so you can kind of see on what you're doing and why it all works out. All right, hope this helps.